It's raw, and I think it's real, and I think that people are upset with government. I think they're upset with both parties, Gail, and I think Donald Trump's tapping into that. I actually think it could be quite good for our party.
That's one opinion. The head of the Republican National Committee there saying Donald Trump good for the GOP. But the question is this kind of messaging in a drawn-out food fight with a cast of thousands really a good for the party? Now, you said before, no way, no how. I thought this was the thing they were trying to avoid. When you had the Koch brothers coming in saying, we're not going to replay here 12. We're going to clear up the primary earlier. We're going to get these guys. We're going to change the calendar if we have to. We're going to pour a lot of money into this. I know nobody forecasted Trump, but at the same end, there's no way to spin this is good for the GOP, right?
The only way to spin it, and I think there's a little spin involved, is that it may bring voters out who have given up on the process, voters that didn't turn out last time and in 2008. I think that's the only plus that I can see. It was hard enough when there were 8 candidates in the race. There's 17 now, and probably more that will jump in. It's just so hard to differentiate yourself from the pack, and then to have Trump come in here just makes it a zoo. But maybe it does. Maybe it turns more people into the debate, certainly onto the issues early. Maybe there's some residual goods. I think in the net, it's probably not a good thing.
But, to Bill's point, Rick, you have nobody's going to argue this has helped Republicans with Latinos with what he said. Now, like he said, for people screaming for oxygen, they're going to go back to the social issues, which weren't Republicans' ticket to get the White House here. They were going to bang on the economy, and now they're getting diverted. And I would think from a guy who, and we have Chris Hayes, is a good friend to the program too, you guys were moderate Republicans. It gets harder and harder to have oxygen for that portion of the party that they need to vote for him next November. This isn't what a lot of the folks said would be different this time around, is it?
Yeah, no, the Republican Party has a bit of a challenge, which is how do you hold on to an aging white base, increasingly rural, and at the same time reach out and grow that vote to women, more suburbanites, reach into urban areas and diversify their appeal. And so they're going through these growing pains right now. I would have loved to have had the vast majority or all of the other presidential candidates condemn Trump's comments relative to Mexicans coming across the border, because it was so outrageous and really terrible it was wrong, it was morally bad, and it was terrible branding, all three at the same time. But the other thing that's going on here, Richard, is just that the voting electorate is very volatile. It's a different electorate than it was 10 or 20 years ago. You've got 2/3 of Americans who think that we're on the wrong track. This 6.5 years into a recovery. Over 60% of Americans believe that we're still in a recession. Still in a recession. That income growth has stalled for the vast majority of Americans. Expenses are going up. They're falling further behind. They're mad about the fact that America looks like it's lost control over the world, and that places like the Middle East are on fire. And they're looking for answers. And both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, are coming up with different answers, but I think that same anxiety is playing out right now. And so you see someone like a Donald Trump, or again, Bernie Sanders, who's going and drawing 10,000 people, at a rally, and it's pretty remarkable.
If you ever put your finger on it, Don, that appeal. See, I certainly agree that there's some ugly thoughts out there that Trump gave a voice to with what he said, and he believes he's been validated by it, both because of what he says. He claims the other ones have apologized for condemning his remarks on Mexico. I don't believe that. But he also says, hey, look at what happened to, pick the candidate here who condemned me, Lindsey Graham. He's sitting at 0 now, so I must be right. That all said, is it about that he's playing into some of the ugly part of this country, or the country just likes somebody who's loud and crazy?
I wouldn't categorize it either way. I would say that he is perceived as a winner, and everybody loves a winner. Think about this for a second. What's the real difference between him and Mitt Romney? Both of them in terms of financially.
Romney's actually a Republican.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But yet, money worked terribly against Mitt Romney. This comes down to personality, folks see Trump as a winner. And what's funny, this is a wake-up call for all the pundits throughout the country, the political pundits that think they know what they're talking about. And then someone like Trump comes along and it defies all logic. And I'm telling you, this
But
guy's
I'm
not
wondering
going
if he
anywhere.
does or doesn't. When you look at the numbers closer, though, yes, the most important one is in the polling. He's lapping the field right now for Republicans. But if you look at his unfavorables out there, and you look at the demos in this country that he will get no votes from, there's no pathway that guy's going to be president right now. And nobody other than him who thinks he is, right? I mean, you can't offend everybody.
Richard,
and then at the end of the day, they pull the lever
Richard,
for
if you win the nomination, anything is possible.
Okay, fair enough. However, to that point, Andrew, if we have it, Karl Rove had some interesting things to say about one Donald Trump today.
Karl Rove, I'm all ears.
Yes, exactly. Do we have that graphic, guys? This was in the Wall Street Journal, and among his comments is which Trump will debate here tonight. He said, among other things, that Rove, speaking of Trump, that he's been on so many sides of so many issues that Thursday's stage is a multiple choice test. He went on, Andrew, the detail saying he's changed his position on abortion, he's changed his position on gun control. He arguably got into this race with a push from Bill Clinton. And by the way, he wrote checks to the Clintons over the years. And we can go yada, yada, yada with all the different policy contortions. Do you think the public even cares anymore? Or do you think there's a one sentence clever answer that makes that go away from him,
First of all, I think Trump's probably got some retorts to that in his hip pocket that he'll be ready to pull out, just like he's got for
something with gold plated, right?
Right, for all of the other candidates. But it's weird. Karl Rove and Reince Priebus are the only two in this mix right now who are actually focused on winning the general election and winning the White House, and that's kind of their jobs if you think about it. Everybody else, they can tweak the game plan, you can tweak the debate schedule and the primary schedule as much as you want, but the RNC can't control who's running. They can't control the issues that the base wants to hear. They can't control the mood of the voters. They can't control what they're hearing from polling. And you've really got a tail wagging the dog scenario in the Republican Party right now. After all of these years of conservative radio and Fox News, it's stoked an anger in the base that needs to be served, and that's what all the candidates are doing right now. So the groupthink sort of takes hold, and the whole party lurches a little further to the right and a little less electable when you get to a general election. They're doing what they have to do to win the nomination, but yeah, I think this does hurt them down the road.
Let me argue, though, that the Democrats are going through the same experience right now.
Perhaps, but I don't think it's wobbling in the same with the same intensity.
We're going to soak more of the rich. They're going through this.
Anti-establishment, exactly.
But the other thing is, at the end of the day, whoever the Democratic nominee is, let's assume it's Hillary, all of the Bernie Sanders supporters are going to come home and vote for Hillary as opposed to voting for the Republican nominee. It's not quite as spread out
Why can't
as
you
it
say
is.
the same thing
I
for
think the same will
Republicans,
happen,
though?
I don't, because I think some conservatives, some far-right conservatives won't come home for a Jeb Bush, or they won't come home for a Marco Rubio if they think he's soft on immigration.
I put this in a different way. With what you're seeing out there for Trump, does part of you say, as folks who maybe not remember, Bill was involved in Rob Astorino's campaign for governor this last time around, that maybe being angry and a little unhinged and a little bit, I mean, I don't care what anyone thinks, what he said, Donald Trump, about John McCain and his war record as appeal, that's offensive, okay? And then to claim to be the biggest champion for veterans affairs, to me, we can all joke around about everything, but that's just wrong, okay? Anyway. But is there a part that says that you and other campaign strategists, consultants say, you know what, screw it. Maybe this is how we get free media. Maybe this is what we got to do. Maybe we feed the beast here a little bit and get a little angry, get a little crazy, maybe go farther than we ever would have been comfortable before because we don't have to pay for ads that way and we make the other guy have to respond.
It's something that I worry about less as a consultant than as an American. I mean, Daniel Patrick Moynihan had the famous defining deviancy down. And I think Trump is introducing a vulgarity to politics right now at the national level that is just not acceptable to me. And yes, that can happen. Yep. The hand grenades can get sharper. And I think Trump needs to go forward. I think he needs to fail in order to save this process. And God, I hope that he does. I won't put God into this one, but I hope that he does because we have enough problems in our politics than to see what he's doing.
But you'll see tonight how many of those candidates want to tap into that anger. And they're willing to get out there on that. Because I do think that it is very seductive to try and meet that frustration with an empathy that you can express where you're saying, you're ticked off and I'm ticked off and together we're going to do something about it.
Right. Because it's about math too, not just about polls. But you say, one guy's going to say, wait a minute, I've been on the phone here for 12 hours trying to raise money here, and that fill in the blank has gotten $25 million of free media just because he called McCain, basically not a war hero because he got captured, and he all of a sudden triples the amount of illegal immigrants in this country, and they're all rapists, and this is free media for him? What am I doing humping the phones here, right?
Well,
there's a part of that.
Yeah, so can I play into that emotional vein that's running? With my next money bomb, because that person's going to go out there the way
you guys
people
all hate having to raise money, right?
I've got to say, Richard,
more than you know.
The McCain thing shocked me, and I think in the end, the consultants or the talking heads that say that Trump's not going to make it, and I put myself in that category, are going to be right. But I was shocked that the McCain thing didn't take him down.
Me too.
John McCain's not the most popular Republican out there, and he certainly has vulnerabilities. The one thing that he owns is his story. And for Trump to go out there and get away with it is really shocking. It's a frightening precedent.
Yep. Coming up next, believe it or not, we're going to talk about issues. Which ones could be landmines for the guys on the stage here? And maybe did the Supreme Court give them a major gift here by dealing with both Obamacare and gay marriage so they won't have to campaign on it? We'll talk about that and more after this.